Chosen Wilkins
If you get aggravated, you're feeding into
made a lie and said that I tried to hurt myself. Chosen Wilkins.
You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent her to the hospital? Man, bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. I didn't even have a name for the kid.
But when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get it.
His mom brought Yaz to Charlie. And Charlie came and got me and was like, what you want to do? You doing gay porn and like, what is wrong with you, man?
Little boy, little boy, little boy.
Stay up till?
I stay up till like maybe 6 in the morning. I'm back up at like 10:30, 11.
6 in the morning. What do you do every night till 6 in the morning? You don't go to clubs every night.
No, I mean, I make love a lot. And,
Now, since Ball hasn't provided concrete proof to back up his claims, a lot of people were understandably skeptical. Let's be real. In today's internet culture, anyone can say anything, and if they sound convincing enough, it can go viral overnight. But then Terrence Howard came forward and confirmed that these kinds of secret industry networks really do exist, and that powerful celebrities and executives truly move in these hidden circles. And suddenly, people started looking at Ball's story very differently. And don't even get me started on the Epstein files. Because after everything that's come out, a lot of people are now saying that what once sounded unbelievable suddenly feels disturbingly possible. The comment sections have been on fire. One person wrote, "This is insanity. So many corrupt people, Hollywood, music, politicians, world leaders, praying that justice finally catches up to them. They all deserve life in prison." Another said, "It's strange how Epstein never came up in the Diddy trial. Never came up in the Weinstein trial either. Makes you wonder who's really being protected." And someone else wrote, "Bryshere, my heart breaks for you and anyone else who went through this. To the mothers who allegedly knew and allowed it, prison is too easy. Justice must be served." Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about these allegations surrounding Bryshere and the powerful figures being named? Do you believe the industry has been hiding a massive network like this? And if these claims are proven true, do you think the people who allowed it should be held legally responsible? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, click here to watch the next messy video, because trust me, this rabbit hole goes even deeper.
The opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the
Hell
consequences
yeah.
when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He was like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman.
And just when it seemed like the story couldn't get any darker, Ball came back with another interview, and this time, his allegations were even more disturbing. In his follow-up conversation with Tasha K., Ball claimed that there was a moment when he was alone with Bry in Chicago, and things took a heartbreaking turn. According to him, Bry allegedly got high on multiple substances and suffered a severe emotional breakdown. And during that breakdown, Ball says Bry finally confessed the truth. He allegedly told him that the reason he was so deeply damaged, so lost, and so broken inside was because of what powerful industry men had done to him, naming figures like Will and Diddy as the people who, in his words, completely destroyed him. Ball described the moment as devastating, a young star unraveling under the weight of trauma that had been buried for years. Now, once again, these are allegations, not proven facts. But when multiple insiders begin telling similar stories, and those stories line up with patterns we've seen exposed before, it forces people to start asking uncomfortable questions. Because behind the fame, the money, and the spotlight, there may be a much darker reality, one that countless victims were forced to suffer in silence. And if even part of this is true, then what we're seeing now is just the beginning of the truth coming out.
Oh, bisexual, they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills, Bryshere Gray, left that house screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed a dog.
Who knew that your husband was doing things to boys and did stuff to your son and you ain't do shit about it? Bilal told me everything.
Their good friend who
Bilal told me.
Go ahead.
Jada. He told me that you knew Will was f***ing your child. Yes, he did. Wonder why he left that out of his Tasha K interview.
Yeah, in that interview, he said a lot. He said a lot.
He said everything but the thing that was important. That he know that Will Smith, Jaden, he raped Bryshere and he raped.
But somehow, it still gets worse. In the middle of all this, Brother Bill, a longtime industry insider who previously worked as Will Smith's assistant, suddenly appeared online, and what he had to say sent shockwaves across the internet. During a bombshell interview with Tasha K, Bill made explosive claims about Will Smith's private life, alleging that powerful secrets had been hidden behind the scenes for years. He even described an incident where he claims he unexpectedly walked in on Will and Dwayne Martin in a private moment inside Dwayne's dressing room. The story he told was graphic, shocking, and deeply unsettling, especially considering the level of fame and influence involved. According to Bill, this wasn't some isolated situation, but part of a much larger pattern that many insiders had quietly known about for a long time. Now, to be clear, these are allegations, not proven facts. But the timing of these claims, surfacing right as industry secrets are being exposed at record speed, has left many people questioning just how much has really been hidden from public view. Because when longtime insiders start speaking out, it usually means the silence has finally cracked. And once that happens, the truth has a way of flooding out, whether the industry is ready or not.
About Bryshere's mom, I'ma kick you in your pussy and then I'ma go to work North Philly style. I'll kill and Charlie. You happy now? He's a gay star. Are you happy now, Andy? For a book that didn't sell? New husband of yours leaves you. And maybe it's time you tell your son why his father is really in jail, his biological father, for all of his life and what you had to do with it. You can see
But according to Jaguar, that regret didn't last. She claims that whatever financial benefits were being offered ended up outweighing that guilt, because Bryce's mother allegedly continued allowing him to remain in the industry, fully aware of what was happening behind closed doors. If even part of these claims are true, it paints a horrifying picture of just how deep the corruption runs. Because in this world, talent is currency, silence is survival, and money becomes more powerful than love. And the most terrifying question of all is, how many more stories like this are still buried, waiting to be uncovered?
that came to me and begged me for my help. I told her to get the away from Charlie. I did everything that I could do to get Bryshere, to help her get Bryshere out of California into Chicago safe, to be ready for filming. She knew she knew what Will did to him.
Now, it's still unclear whether Bryshere ever had any direct encounters with Epstein, since Epstein entered the picture during the final chapter of his life. But for years, insiders have speculated that Epstein was only one piece of a much larger network, a web of power, influence, and silence that stretched across the entire entertainment industry. Even Ally Carter tried to warn people about this long before the files ever surfaced. According to these claims, victims weren't tied to just one predator. They were allegedly passed around inside a hidden system, protected by wealth, fame, and fear. A closed circle where everyone knew what was happening, but nobody dared to speak. And here's where it gets even more disturbing. One report claimed that the reason Diddy didn't appear in the Epstein files was because he was allegedly running his own private operations, separate from Epstein, competing to impress the same powerful elites. Yes, competing over who could provide the most access, the most control, the most influence. You truly cannot make this up. This industry is wicked on levels most people cannot even comprehend. Now, circling back to Jaguar's allegations about Bryshere's mother, she also claimed there was a moment when Bryce's mom actually came to her in tears, begging for help, saying she regretted ever placing her son into the hands of Will and Diddy.
Our rob in Chicago for Empire, it's a damn mess. It's no other way to put it. This dude is going crazy, right? He's out there allegedly with male prostitutes. He's pissing in the trailer. He's acting psychotic, right?
The same thing he's doing now.
Beyond that. But this is why a show is going on. I pulled him to the side. I said, listen, I'm here to help you and so forth and so on. So he was like, all right, I feel that. He said, everybody, they love you. I want to love you because everybody else love you. I said, if that's what you want to do, then do it. But he kept acting up. And then one day I said, what the F is wrong with you? You know, he said, you know Will me, you know Diddy made me suck his penis, you know what's going on, you know Charlie made me suck. And I said, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea. So he crying, no blood is coming from his nose. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Somebody stole 2 hard drives from Jada's house. So now we get into why she's even more mad. Jada will watch at the houses. She had her laptop. She would stick her hard drive in, right? Boom, and hook it up to the TV. And she could play whatever video she watching. So I'm seeing videos of her and Will and a bunch of other, some celebrities, everything. Because remember, the last interview I told you, if you don't sue me, who you been hitting with them dildos. And I said, if you don't sue, I'm going to sue. So I told you, being Muslim, whatever I say I'm going to do, that's what I'm going to do, period. And I got to have evidence. So she's sitting down here watching, playing with herself, high as a kite, right? Not caring who's watching, nothing. She's in her own world. So that's how I was able to see the tapes. I saw them, and I saw some things that were unreal, and I saw celebrities on the tape.
Ooh.
Perjury. If anything in here is a lie, my ass on the jail, period. There's no if, there's no ends, there's no buts. You know what you and Diddy was doing. All that's coming out.
Who else did you see allegedly on the tapes?
Tyrese with Will and Jada. Then the one with Charlie Mack and Will. Jada's not on it, but spit up, period. So when these tapes come out, people will know I'm telling the absolute truth. Allegedly. So it's time for everybody that got a credible story, I should say, to start.
Terrence Howard is back at it again, and this time, he's finally pulling back the curtain on the chaos that was happening behind the scenes when Empire was at its peak. What he reveals connects directly to the recent Epstein file leaks, exposing a dark network that quietly ran through the entire entertainment industry. And according to insiders, Bryshere was just one of many. For years, people believed Bryce simply walked away from his career and ended up struggling to survive. But the truth, as it's now being revealed, is far more disturbing. Behind the scenes, powerful figures were allegedly pulling strings, manipulating young talent, and exploiting vulnerable families. And guess who is there to witness it all? Terrence Howard. Word on the street is that Terrence actually tried to step in and protect Bryce when his own mother and manager allegedly handed him off to industry predators under the disguise of a so-called mentorship program. But since Terrence wasn't his legal guardian, there was only so much he could do. And it doesn't stop there. Multiple former employees who worked closely with these powerful circles have now come forward, and their accounts are nothing short of horrifying. The stories they're telling paint a picture of an industry built on silence, fear, and control. But the wildest part? Terrence says he himself almost became a victim. According to him, Diddy allegedly attempted to recruit Terrence as his personal boy toy, using the cover story of hiring him as an acting coach. Supposedly, Diddy claimed he needed help preparing for a movie role, but instead of hiring a professional acting coach, he specifically targeted Terrence, a working actor.